what's up, y'all? What's poppin'? It's D. About to react to another Jubilee video. I've been reacting to a lot of their videos lately, just because they introduce a lot of interesting topics and they have a lot of different people, you know, in their videos who have a lot of good points. So it's really interesting to hear their take on certain topics or whatever. So this one is called "Can Feminists and Non-Feminists Agree on Gender Equality?" Ooh, this is a hot topic, feminism, that is, just because a lot of people have different definitions of what it really means to be a feminist, and it just seems to be very complicated. I used to say, yeah, you know, sure, I'm a feminist. Everyone should be a feminist if you want equal rights for women, if you want them to have equal pay, you don't want them to be oppressed and all of that. But, you know, people have come out and said, no, you know, it means more than that. It's actually this, that. So hearing other feminists speak about what it means to be a feminist and, you know, hearing certain standpoints, it's just been like, it's been a little confusing. So I personally don't say that I'm a feminist anymore. I used to say in a very casual way, by the way. I never was like, yeah, I'm a feminist. It was just like, yeah, sure, I'm a feminist. Everybody should be. You know, it would be in a very like, duh type of way. But apparently there's more to it. I am not knowledgeable on, you know, all things feminism, so I just choose to, you know, back up and, you know, play my position and stay in my own lane and worry about what the fuck is going on with me, as I do with most things. But yeah, sure, we're gonna hear what, you know, these feminists and non-feminists have to say. Let's hear.
Men are making choices for us, women, about birth control, abortion, healthcare, everything, and we can't even have a say on it because they won't even hear us.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think that should be something that women decide on if it's affecting other women.
I have my non-feminists in the left spotlight. I have my feminists in the right spotlight. The feminist movement has changed from its original definition.
Yes, I hear people say that all the time. They seem so tense. Relax.
The reason why I hesitated is because I started to think about who is most served by mainstream feminism. I don't personally think that has changed. I think that white, heterosexual, cisgendered women are most served by mainstream feminism.
When I heard the definition of feminist, right, I was like, yeah, I'm a feminist. Like, yeah, you know, I believe in equality of the sexes. Of course I do. But it changed the more that I researched the movement, the more that I saw how mainstream media portrayed it. And to me, it's like there's a lot of issues that happen to men in disproportionate amounts that are always overlooked, that, you know, no one talks about the suicide rate, no one talks about the homelessness rate for men. And it sucks because if your whole movement is based around equality of the sexes, right, and to make sure both sexes are equal, then that covers the whole spectrum, right? It's not just one sex, it's equality. The title of feminist inherently excludes men.
Interesting.
But the definition doesn't.
I don't agree with that.
Male privilege is real.
Yes, duh. I mean, female have privileges too.
It's not lost on me how many more men are in academia and in higher education. Women are called more often to put their careers on hold in order to have children or for whatever other reasons. That's just kind of the way I see it manifesting most in my life, is just seeing how hard it is to be an intellectual woman in academia. My name is Faith, and I am not a feminist. I am a strong woman, and I was raised by strong women, but I cannot get behind a few of the core ideals of what it often means to be a feminist, so I do not identify as one.
My mother is a teacher. She has her master's. She has years and years of experience, and yet her place within the school, her place within, as far as like authority over students, is not the same as a man. And I think that's an inequality that I've just been shown from my mother, who comes home and says, you know, I just had the worst day at work because I was uncomfortable the entire time. Or I had a strange experience with a male student who just like would not listen to a word I said. It wasn't connecting, and it wasn't until I brought in the vice principal who was male, or another teacher who was male, that things could be kind of squashed and covered.
Oh, sure.
Just growing up, I would say that overall our school systems are more geared towards women. There's more female teachers, and that's how our children are raised. You know, the things that you were alluding to. Your mom has to deal with those difficulties that a man would not have to deal with. Men have to deal with a lot of difficulties that most women wouldn't have to deal with. We do benefit from certain privileges, but so do women.
I think you considered it a privilege that there are more women in the teaching profession, but you should also consider that other options weren't necessarily or historically available to women.
Right.
Because they were considered to be more nurturing. A lot of women were pushed into that field.
Still, women are choosing these majors and choosing their region of study, whereas men are tending to choose higher paying majors. They're choosing more to go into STEM fields and such like that, and reaping the financial benefits, while women are also reaping their own happiness benefits of going into a field that they enjoy.
If I were born the opposite sex, my life would be easier.
I can't say that as a black woman. You know, maybe if I was a white woman, I could say that.
I started to walk over just thinking inherently the privileges that men in this society have and how they're able to navigate far easier and all of that stuff. And then I thought what it would be like to be a black man.
Facts.
In this society, and
that's hard.
I don't know that it would be any easier.
I'm first generation Mexican American. I have 2 Mexican parents. If I were to be born a male Mexican, it'd be so much easier for just that group. I try to break off from those stereotypes of Melanie gets a table ready for dinner. Excuse me, I have 2 brothers that can do the exact same thing. You know, why can't they do it? Why do I have to do it? My name is Melanie Valdez, and I am on the feminist side. I had an incident where I was sexually assaulted, and that changed my whole perspective.
If I was born any other thing than I am, I would have to struggle differently than I have already struggled, and compared to some people in minorities, or some people that are white. Some people that are white have struggled more than me. There's always a positive and a negative that you're born with, and it's how you utilize that and get over it that I think is important, rather than focusing on if I was born this or if I was born that.
I think it is kind of what we make of it. And I'd almost say that to want to be anything different than what we are is possibly even defeating the purpose of the feminist movement. A big part of feminism is telling women that they're worth it already.
Something that they're not.
That they're already enough. I have a little sister. I have friends who were told by their father, by their older brother, that you are enough. And now they're doing whatever they want. Because they were told they could. They were given the opportunity from the beginning. And they weren't told, well, if you were a man, you could. No. They were told, you are a woman and you can because of who you are.
Not sure that having a community that affirms who you are is enough. If the society and the structure and the laws and the policies that govern tell you otherwise.
Right.
My parents told me I could do whatever I want to do. And so I went to law school, and I'm an attorney, and I write. But I don't make as much as my coworker who does the exact same thing and who I probably am more qualified than.
From the statistics that I read, there was no wage gap, it was an earnings
so
gap.
So it's your understanding that there is no wage gap between men and women.
Yes, there's an earnings gap. Different positions, different schooling can also be a factor. You can have the same degree but from 2 different schools, and they'll pay someone from their school different. How the interviews go.
I took an entire class on this, and there is a
salaries.
Why then are women choosing jobs that pay less?
Culture.
Men and women need to work together to create equality.
I and one of the reasons that I can take issue with certain types of feminism is it does come across as anti-man sometimes. It comes across as it's your fault. You know, if I go to the Women's March and I see signs that say smash the patriarchy and like our P word bites back and stuff like that, that's, as much as that's speaking against, you know, an oppressive top culture, that's speaking to all men, and I don't see that as helpful.
Definitely.
Well, I think all men benefit from patriarchy. I mean, you need to acknowledge your privilege first.
Right.
If people could hear that about themselves and not be defensive, I think that we could probably push the needle forward a lot faster.
Something that plagues the feminist movement is that there's this idea that in order to gain equal footing, the other side has to be emasculated or has to be dropped down.
And it's not, this isn't pie, you know what I mean? Just because I get a slice doesn't mean you get you get less,
absolutely,
right? Like just because, advocating for women's rights doesn't infringe upon men's rights.
Right.
You know, first and second wave feminism were very clear in the very particular things that they were trying to accomplish. You had first wave feminism, which was very clearly, you know, trying to get the right to vote. Second wave feminism, right after like World War II and such, helping women progress in the workplace and such. And now I see third wave feminism, and it is a broken apart, can be lost movement that goes in so many directions and has so many extra qualifiers. And I think about, I was talking to one of my friends who went to the Women's March with a pro-life feminist group. And she said on multiple accounts they were asked to leave because that's not why the Women's March was happening, and that they were against the movement. And so you have all these different types of feminism. There doesn't seem to be a clear center and a clear desire, and I hear people call themselves feminists for all different reasons. And with some of them, I would agree, and I would call myself a feminist for those reasons. But because it's so all over the place, I just can't call myself a feminist.
That's kind of how I feel.
If feminists can make a concise push towards one issue together, would I be willing to join? If I agreed with the point, yes. Okay. If I agreed with what the movement was going for, yes.
As a woman, I'm not sure that I'm concerned whether or not you want to join as a man.
Is that not part of the issue?
But that's segregating that's segregating genders. If you're saying that you don't care about my opinion as a man, that goes against everything the feminist movement goes.
I don't care about reshaping and forming my feminism in a way that is digestible for you as a man.
So what's the current one message?
The definition of feminism across the board is the social, political, and economic equality of the sexes.
Yes. Why are we only talking about the female inequalities? Why aren't we talking about the male inequalities?
We do not have the same experience.
Right.
We do not. You are not oppressed in the same ways that I am.
Right.
No, and I'm sure you're not oppressed in the same ways that I am.
More of our world leaders should be women.
Look, he's hesitating. Why are you hesitating? That's sad.
Let's talk about, for like this, like abortion, those who signed the bill in the room with Trump, they were all white men. I did not see a single woman. It just doesn't matter if it's a white woman. I did not see a single woman in there. So those men are making choices for us, women, about birth control, abortion, healthcare, everything, and we can't even have a say on it because they won't even hear us.
I don't view it as we should have more women in office. I view it as we should have the most qualified people in office. If you have an issue with, the bill being signed by white men, I believe that voting for Congress people that are women or, whoever you review and believe are the most qualified will put those people in power.
If we are talking about the last election, I believe that the most qualified candidate did not win. People need to really consider what role gender played in that.
Right.
Just logically, the people that they're representing are both men and women, so the people representing us should be men and women. And it would be really hard for me to ever understand why people wouldn't think that there should be more women in leadership.
Right.
I love women. I love being a woman. I love strong women. I was raised by strong women. I don't agree with all of the things that are traditionally included in feminist beliefs. Like, I have a different view on abortion than you guys, so that's a big deal for me. That's one of the most important things to me. I'm a Christian, and that's just one of my beliefs. So that's kind of, for me, that's one of the driving forces why I don't identify as a feminist.
To divide into two teams gender-wise is not Spartan. It's not often what we do, but it is sometimes. And how do we avoid that? And how do we avoid that separation? How do we make it a collective effort, even though I'm a conservative white man? And, you know, there are different views than me, and I don't want to force you to agree with me. I don't want to change your mind in that way, but I want to see how I can still work with you fully and be on your team, and you can be on mine as we disagree agreeably.
Thank you, everyone, for probably the most
Line
respectful.
up. Y'all just really tense and just like, you know? For the most part, there are a lot of social issues that, to be completely frank, I just don't care too much about. Simply because I'm coming from a spiritual standpoint, and I just like to stay in my own lane and focus on what I'm doing. And I just feel like a lot of people like to argue, and they like to, no, it should be this way, man, it's a lot of friction, and I just don't want to be a part of that, to be completely honest. And I have been a part of these conversations and have had strong standpoints regarding race in the past, but it really hasn't made much of a difference, hasn't gotten me anywhere. It actually has made me more angry and more frustrated, and I just don't choose to partake in these conversations anymore like that. This is above me. You know, it's above me. So I just don't, you know, have too much of a strong opinion. But since I am watching this video, I will comment on a couple things that they said. I do agree that there should be more women in power for sure. Him making the statement that, oh, it should be just the most qualified. Get up out of here. There are so many qualified women. They just don't, you know, have these high positions of power nearly as much as men do. So, you know, that definitely is an issue. Also, that guy saying that, oh, it just seems to be anti-male. I just cannot stand when you have a group of people who are oppressed, whether they be women or people of color, and you have people on the opposite side, whether, you know, they be white or male, and they're like, oh, well, this just seems like it's anti-white or anti-male. Like, why are you taking this so personal and making this to be an attack on who you are? Like, that's so selfish. Just focus on what these people are saying. They're saying that they're oppressed against. This has nothing to do with you. They're talking about their experience and how they want equal rights. So why are you taking this to be, oh, why is this an attack on me? You're saying Black lives matter, so are you saying that white lives don't matter? That's just so stupid. Like, what does this have to do with you? Everything ain't about you. That's the problem. You think the world revolves around you. So that standpoint is really annoying. So I can't stand when people say things like that. But yeah, you know, they had a couple good points that I definitely agree with. Some I didn't, but like I said, I just do not have a strong opinion on this type of shit at all. It's just like, sure, you know, sure, do you? It's just not that deep to me. Whatever's gonna happen, honestly. We could talk till we blue in the face, have all the debates we want to have, but the high people in power, they're going to make the decisions they're going to make regardless. So, you know, it is what it is. Even we're thinking that we're voting and we're making a difference, stay woke, okay? It's whatever's going to happen is going to happen, period. That's my viewpoint. So, you know, sure. But y'all let me know what y'all thought about this video, though. It was pretty interesting. Let me know what other videos you want me to react to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!